Crew cabins on board the aircraft. Well, I can explain that in a couple different ways. For one thing, well, how to say this delicately? Some laws are flexible and some people are very flexible as well, and that's that. But that is not the real reason why there are crew quarters inside the aircraft. The real reason about crew quarters being inside the aircraft is that a lot of times on a lot of these places, if you leave the aircraft, if you step foot, technically the aircrafts are sovereign land of the land that you come from. I basically made it that way, well, because I am LS. And I had armies that would basically support them. And occasionally I had to put men guarding my aircraft or else they would have been stolen or taken. But there were a few times when you could probably see pictures of basically men standing around my aircraft pretty much guarding it, because if they didn't, somebody would try and steal it or try and kidnap someone or try and kill someone or something bad like that. So at times I did have to have men standing around the aircraft protecting them. An aircraft is kind of like a spaceship almost, you know. Everybody wants one. And basically another thing is that if the staff from the helicopter, and from the aircraft go into a hotel, there is possibility of, well, rape, death, kidnapping, or something very bad. Where at certain times, basically, you did not want to leave. In certain countries, you know, you did not want to leave the aircraft, because if you did, getting back to the aircraft would be impossible because they wouldn't let you back in. And once you leave that aircraft, you're basically in their hands. Basically, I mean, there were times when some flight crews would actually just leave the engine running, like they go, and they would actually sit on the runway where it's like, we're not going to stop, and basically get out, grab your things, okay, bye, where we would literally like just basically drop people off because, you know, it was a dangerous place to be, and it's like, we're not going to stay here, we will take you there, but that's about it. You know, and where like I think one time we actually even might have had fighter escorts where the fighters would stayed in the air. You know, back in the past, there's a lot of crazy things that you would see. Like, what the? It's like like fighter aircraft flying around the airfield, and basically the aircraft lands. People get out with their belongings, and then the aircraft takes off, and they fall, and all three fly off into the sunset. You know, there were times like that when that actually did happen. Quite a bit of stuff. I mean, war-torn countries, or where there's a bad dictator and some crazy person actually wants to go there, then yeah, I would provide, like, it's like, you're insane, but okay, yes, we can do it. Where we actually have fighter escorts, and basically the fighters basically provide support for these people that actually want to go to this place, which they shouldn't really be going. But okay. So we did do that. You know, we would do what's called I don't know what you'd call it, but basically there were times like that where, and there was even times when somebody would stay inside the cockpit and just sit there and be ready to hit that switch to start up those engines to fly out. You know, it's like, forget the runway. You just fly. Like, there were a couple times when yeah, I mean, they would they would shoot their way onto the airfield and then try and run for the aircraft as fast as they could and try and grab an aircraft, and it's like, eee. And where my crew is basically like running away, and they're still shooting at the aircraft, and it's like ting ting, and you know, and it's basically like emergency get out. You know, I mean, it's happened. You know, it's happened. And that's another reason why all three flight stewardesses are basically medics, because, you know, sometimes people would get shot. You know, I mean, guns are everywhere. And so in the past, like, they used to, I mean, generally they didn't mess around with LS because we were, you know, LS, Lucifer Star. So usually, like, bad things would happen to people that shot at us. Anyway, so there's a lot of things, and of course also my aircraft all had radios, just like all my ships. Like I said, all my ships, every single one of my ships, you could tell an LS ship by the fact that it has a telegraph system or a radio of some kind, because you can look through history and you can actually see my aircraft and my ships because they have the radios. and I was one of the only people with the radios. So like we could communicate, la la la, la, back and forth, or dit, 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 dit. The Titanic and some of the older ships just had we're using the broadcast tower as basically a telegraph system. The first radio was a telegraph system. It wasn't actually a blah 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 blah. That takes some electronics. Mostly radios were and stuff like that. And then later on, as people get to use it more and more and more, or want to use it more and more and more, I'm like, oh, okay. And stuff like that. So anyway, yeah, and like I say, it's I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna say it's the flight crew that you need to talk to about certain things, and I do not have nothing to do with it, nor will I ever. Free choice is free choice, and I have nothing to do with any of that. But in some countries, some things are legal, and I just hey. My only thing was just don't crash the plane. Just don't crash the plane. I mean, it's a professional. I stay on the professional side of things, where it's like, about the only thing I did say basically is because certain people were like blah 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 blah, and it's like, she is a flight stewardess. She is not your whatever thing. And I will back them up 110%, and I did. I was like, like I said, there are certain people, there are certain men that were like, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, she is there to provide food, drinks, and that is all she is there to provide. Nothing more. So, we have the right to refuse service. And if we had to, we'd we'd just shoot them in the head. Like I said, I had snipers, I had everything. LS, America, and other countries, Some people might call me a psychopath, but we made guns and cannons and tanks, battleships. So when my people needed help, they got it. The what's called the SS Rodney or Nelson class ships. Oh God, I never name anything after family. By the way, I learned that the hard way. Never name things after your family. You're gonna regret it. Like if you name a car after your family or your father, you're gonna regret it. Like it's just a fact. So anyway though, but yeah, but yes, anyway though, but mostly the quarters inside the aircraft were because certain countries you don't want to leave. You don't want to leave the aircraft. You don't want to leave the airfield. Because the airfields are protected and sanctuary. I own the airfield, so I would have military people. Well, a lot of my airfields were also military bases, so there would be like a platoon at the airfield to protect it. And the airfields were always the safest place because of obvious reasons. And plus, I don't, when a fighter or whatever gets stolen, it's very bad. So I would always protect the airfields really well. Anyway, though, but Lusitania had airfields, Titanic had airfields. It's LS basically. Lucifer Star, inventor of flight and all that. And then there's my different groups and different people. And they're little children. Like I said, I love, my heart melts every time I see children. It's like, oh, you have a child. I love children. I always have. I've always loved children, little ones, because they're so precious and so innocent. And that's another reason why I got Psycho 2 is because, when the bombs were falling and people were dying all around, certain people were like, I'm a conqueror, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you're upsetting the children. The children don't want to hear explosions and bombs and wonder if they're going to die tomorrow. So basically, I pretty much I was like, you're upsetting the children, so I'm just gonna have to kill you, and just got to order your death. So I ordered people to die because it's like the children don't like it. It makes them cry. It makes them upset, and what upset them upset me. And people want to feel safe. They don't want to wonder if this crazy guy is going to go and kill them tomorrow. So, so we killed a lot of crazy guys. It's like, I know I invented guns, and I know guns are out there in the world, but, they're dangerous. So, anyway, yeah. It's hard being a ruler and a leader of so many groups. So, anyway, but yeah, and people just have to live with my decisions. I did the best I could, just like everyone else. So, anyway, yeah, though, but yeah, I love my people. Love them. All my people. Very much.